Yo guys, what's going on? This is Yoki Man here and welcome back to another episode of my Football Manager 2020 save here with FC Twente. And yeah, I'm a little bit frustrated. I'm not going to lie, boys. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little bit frustrated because as you can see here, we're in the European Places playoff semi-final once again. I was going to bring you the graph shaft, but I realised after I think it was the VVV game, that we were going to end up in the playoffs. So basically, I mean, it's really frustrated me, this. I'm not going to lie. It's one of those things, but it's just, in the moment when it happens, it's so infuriating. It just really is. Now, the form at the end of the season for me really hasn't... We've not really kicked on since the defeat to Vitesse. We've not really kicked on. You can look, it was a decent result against VVV. You know, it was very good, but we had absolutely nothing to offer away at PSV. In fact, Ethan Laird has just gone completely off the boil. It's as if he doesn't know who he is right now, and we really don't have anybody else of his quality. And then it was a really frustrating draw. But to be honest with you, within the draw, I'm glad we didn't do it as a live com. Ethan, again, he got a 6.4. He was awful, which is frustrating because it's a position that we've been so good in. And he was absolutely awful. Ignacio had picked up a knock, so he couldn't play. And yeah, frustrating, very frustrating. And really, with the VVV game, it's fantastic, isn't it, that we got the win. But we played poorly again. Ignacio getting 2 goals, which is fantastic. But if Batista Maya doesn't come on, have 2 key passes and an assist, I think the game ends differently. Some poor performers in there again. But the key thing is we're in this playoff, and you're probably thinking, why are we in this playoff? And it's because they've got this rule in Dutch football that with the 4th position, it's really wound me up, this. I imagine you can tell. With the 4th position, it doesn't mean anything. 4th means absolutely nothing in this league, because if you win the cup, you get European football. So Feyenoord finish 3rd and get Euro Cup 2, and Vitesse get the Europa League football. They have Europa League football. This will be for Euro Cup 2, I imagine, this playoffs now, which will be very difficult because AZ are a very good team and we're out of form. We're not in form. We're out of form. So what I'm going to do, guys, is instead of breaking it up like we did last time, you know, it's frustrating because the episodes were so long last time. Adds so much to the end of the season. I'm just going to go off camera now. I'm going to play the legs and just see what happens. I'm going to hope that we can find some kind of form because we're really not in it right now. In fact, we're in really poor form. And just hope we can find some kind of form and pull off some results and hopefully get European football again. But the high chances are we're not going to get it. So we've worked really hard this season to get 4th place. And because we lost, it's so bittersweet. It's not even bittersweet. It's just so aggravating. Because we lost in the cup final to Vitesse in the last episode, they got European football and we don't. Regardless of finishing 4th, we still have to win 4 more games. 4 more games. Dutch football, it's punishing. It's punishing on teams that do well over a season in the league. I don't really like this style. I don't think it's very fair. I'm going to say that. It's a biased opinion. I'm going to say that. But yeah, we're going to go off and play those games now and just see what happens. And I'll bring you back and update you on what happens. So there'll be no live comment this episode. What we'll do is just take an all-round look of what's gone on in the save this season, where we're standing and what we need to look at to improve. I think it's very clear if you look at the table here, although we were the best of the rest, which is exactly what we wanted to achieve this year, there's some goal issues here, isn't there? Goal difference of 17. Now conceding maybe not too bad, although you would look at AZ and they conceded, but it's kind of similar, but it's certainly goals scored. 51 goals scored to Feyenoord 67 PSV. It's not really good enough, is it? And that's probably why there's such a distance between us. But let's go play these games and let's see where we're at. Right, guys, the first two legs have been played. AZ have gone through on away goals, so I probably would have preferred Utrecht. AZ really picked up form towards the end of the season, and we managed to go through with a 2-0 victory at home against Groningen. The first leg was really dull. It was a really dull drab affair, and it was kind of how I wanted it to be. I just didn't want to concede in the first leg. And in the second leg at home, we were far more dominant. To be fair, they didn't really have many chances whatsoever. And we got a penalty, and then Nasi scored an absolutely beautiful goal. So we'll play AZ in the final. Hopefully, when I come back again, we've got European football, and the fact that we didn't finish, the fact that we didn't win the cup, and that's why we're in this situation, won't have mattered too much, I hope. Right, guys, well, that is it for the season. This is probably always the worst time to record this straight after the fact. We drew 2-2 with AZ away, and then we've just lost in a performance that was very much similar to the Vitesse performance, to be honest with you. And it got off to the worst start. I've never seen a goal this quick. Luke de Jong scored within about 30 seconds. They kicked off, passed it back to the centre-back. The centre-back kicked the ball straight long. Apparently nobody marked Luke de Jong whatsoever. Not even close to him. My defenders just parted. He ran straight through and scored. I think he took one touch in back of the net. And we were under the cosh instantly then. And really it affected the game. They scored just before half-time. I threw absolutely everything but the kitchen sink at it, and we lost 2-1. I think the big issue was probably not having Ethan, who had a really good first leg. Even though he gave away a penalty, he actually still had a very good first leg. It's really frustrating. Sometimes the team turns up and sometimes they don't, and sometimes Ignacio turns up and sometimes he doesn't. And it made for a really frustrating time. So we won't have Europe next season simply because we didn't win the cup. And when it mattered again, we couldn't win in the playoff. Really frustrating. Really, really frustrating. To concede a penalty is infuriating. You know, we scored on the 24th. They scored on the 35th. They then scored again from a corner. Terrible marking. But we managed to give ourselves a lifeline with Ignacio. We went in with the advantage, but it's all right going in with the advantage. But when you concede in the first 30 seconds, you know that it's just not your day on this game. And unfortunately, that's been the scenario. And yeah, I mean, finishing fourth and not getting European football is just... There's not much I can say about that. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go away. I'm going to calm down just a touch because I'm really aggravated at the situation that's happened, and I'm really aggravated with those two last games that I've just played and performances. And then we'll come and do an end of season wrap up with future Yorkie man who's happier, you could say, who's happier and trying to get my mindset in the position to start again next season. This is what we went with in the end. It performed very well in the first leg, and it performed very well against Groningen. The key was this position. We're playing an inverted winger to come in this position, but then we need a really good wing back. And when Laird's playing there, he plays wing back support. So he gets more forward. Just dreadful performances. Really, it feels frustrating because the season's felt really good. The season's felt really good up until this point. It's felt like what we've really achieved with this young team's been really quite acceptable. But the end of the season's not been good enough. And I think all it takes is looking at the... Can I look at the last 5 games? There's only a few players that have performed. These are starters, and these are the last 5 games. You know, I told you, not good enough. These are players that start in these games, and that's the last 5 games. We've not been good enough. We've not been good enough towards the end of this season, and that needs to change. But we'll work on that in the off season now. Again. It's a young squad. I just have to keep reminding myself that. I just thought we'd have European football again. And I thought finishing 4th was really good, but playoff final against a good team like AZ, it's always a 50-50, and unfortunately we're just a goal off from being in the European places. But anyway, guys, I will be back to do like the end of season stuff. And we'll go through the team and kind of go through the mindset of what we're going to do and look to do to improve the team moving forward. Right, guys, I'm back and rested and recovered from the downbeatness. I've taken stock of the season. I feel a little bit better about the entire situation now. As you can tell, I was extremely downbeat at the end of that last little segment, but sometimes that happens. You know, if you play Football Manager, you know, sometimes you'll hit that run of form, or you'll have plans, and I really wanted Europe again. I really did. For the club, I really wanted Europe again, but in a rebuilding manner, it's probably better off that we didn't get Europe. We came up against a very difficult AZ side, and we just couldn't get it done. You know, some poor performances, but it's absolutely fine because it's going to allow us to rebuild for next season. If we're being realistic about it, it's the second season back in the Eredivisie, and we finished 4th. And under normal circumstances, that would have been Europe if it hadn't have been for the frustration of us losing the cup final. I think that it's the accumulation of that and the fact that a team like Vitesse got Europe when really they probably didn't deserve it. There's nothing against them. I just didn't feel like they deserved it on the scope of actually how they performed throughout the season compared to how we did over the period of games. But it doesn't matter. We've got a very strong squad, a very young squad. We've made so many great improvements in terms of players coming in. Also, guys, I'm going to say this. It's taken a little while to get this video done. The reason is I recently just did a 21.5-hour live stream over on Twitch. If you don't check me out on Twitch, go and chuck me a follow. The link will be in the description. It was chaos, but it was great fun. The growth on the channel has been insane. So I'm thinking from now on, this is not nailed on, but every Friday while I'm still in this period where I'm not at work, I'm going to do an extended stream. It will not be 21 hours. I will guarantee you that. That was painful. It's all the viewers' fault, but it will be an extended stream. So if you want to come and follow us, check us out over there. We've got a really good community, so why not? But let's take stock of the season here. Let's look at the end of the season stuff. Most importantly, let's get the budgets. Right, so first things first, let's go through the fans' player of the season, Ignacio, which is surprising. I had such a lot of negative things to say about Ignacio last season. I know it's probably wrong of me. It's wrong of me because this season he's been fantastic. Now, in the systems we've been using, he plays very offensively and we play very offensively. And I think that's probably held us back a touch because I feel like against certain teams we should have played on the counter and we would have got the best out of Ignacio sometimes in those counter situations. He's very good from a set piece. And he tends to know where the back of the net is, even though he only has 10 composure. 19 goals this season. Now, I know in 37 games, 19 goals, he's not exactly an Ibrahimovic or Cavani. He's not a world beater. But at this level, for us, he's been brilliant. And he is, without a doubt, a key member of this squad. And will probably be the striker again next season until we can eventually bring in the correct young replacement for him. If you look, there is nobody near him, really. Let's be honest. Emil is leaving and he hasn't played enough. He's been injury prone. So yes, Ignacio is my guy. And hopefully he'll score the same next season. Another 19 goal haul next season. I'd be very happy with this. Just behind him, player of the season, Ethan Laird and Seferoza. Again, two extremely key players. I've mentioned so much how key Ethan is and we really need to bring him back. I'm hoping that it will be a loan deal. As you can imagine, he won Young Player of the Season as well for us, which is it's really impressive because if you look at some of the youth in the team, it's a real race for Young Player of the Season. Ethan got it. We still don't know how to say his name. Laird got it. But he's been fantastic from us. I hate saying that about a Man United player being a Leeds fan, but yeah, he's been absolutely brilliant for us. Someone we really need to look at bringing back. He's very dynamic. The key thing for me is he's extremely fast, so he gets back well, but also going forward, he causes a lot of problems with his dribbling. Okay, yeah, I'd love for him to be a better crosser of the ball, but he's been so consistent this season. I'm very happy with him. I'd like more than 4 assists, but he's just a dangerous player. He pulls players out of position when he's moving forward, and that's a real key to our success. He has been really imperative on that right-hand side this entire season. We need to keep him, and hopefully another loan will be the way, because as you can see already at his value, and Man United will want a lot more than that for this talented player. Clearly, signing of the season, Seferoza. He's been really good. He's been really good. I don't even know if his actual name is Seferosa or if we've been saying it wrong the entire time, but I'm going to keep going with it. No one's corrected me yet. As soon as somebody does, we'll change it to how they feel like he should be, his name should be said. But he's been fantastic for us. He's really good. All you have to do is look at that average rating of 7. He's actually scored 7 goals, 6 assists. 11 in total. He scored 4 in the cup. He's fantastic. He's 19 years of age. And he hasn't been injury prone. This one baffles me because he's played a lot of games this season. As you see, 31 games, 5 off the bench. And I believe the league's a 36-game season. So he's played the majority of games, and the reason he's missed games hasn't usually been from injury. It's because we played a DM instead of an AM. When we play a DM, Seferosa doesn't play. When we play an AM, he plays. He's my number 1 starting attacking midfielder. So it's a little bit strange that he's got that injury proneness, but I'm not worried about it because he hasn't really been susceptible to injuries so far, and it's not caused me any issues anyway. I'm hoping that he's just going to continue developing the way he is, and he's really going to be a superstar here, or he's going to make us a lot of money. Okay, so just a quick little overview on the season review. Going out in the Europa League like we did against the team we did was frustrating, but as you know, like the player situation there's frustrating. We did use 32 players, which is third of 18 in the Eredivisie, which it's not too big of a problem. We've got a lot of good players and a lot of young players. It's a big squad, but what you've got to remember is probably as seasons go on, some are going to establish themselves as consistent first-team players, and some of them are going to be sold on. And 92% full average attendance, which I think is very good for us. A 3-1 victory against Feyenoord is the highlight. A moment to forget is 2-0 against PSV, which I've had some bad moments to forget in FM. I don't feel like that's really one to be that frustrated about. 2-0 against PSV, they're a powerhouse. They had a very, very good season. Expectations moving forward. Carry on playing entertaining football, develop players using the club's youth system. We're not doing that. We're actually bringing in our own young players, but I suppose it's along the lines of doing that. Also, work within the wage budget, be financially savvy, which we've tried to be as much as possible. And what's crazy is it's only top half finish again. Literally, all they ever want us to achieve is top half, which is fantastic because it allows us to keep growing without the pressure of a pushing board trying to achieve more. Although it does also add that if they only want top half, they're only going to fund us for a top half finish. They're not going to start chucking tons and tons of money at us, which is fine because the idea of going with youth is probably what we're going to stick with for the majority of the save until probably the later stages where we're a much bigger team. So this is really good news. Our goalkeeper, Heinz Linder, actually won goalkeeper of the season. I'm really impressed with that. 35 appearances and conceded an average of a goal a game, which isn't too bad in football, to be honest with you, and 11 clean sheets, average rating of 6.89. What's crazy is that Ajax, PSV, AZ, none of the big teams actually have a goalkeeper on this list. I'm really happy with that, really impressed, because as a new signing, we were a little bit worried how he was going to get on, but he's had a very good season. Right, guys, so it's time for the commercial summary, and as you know, the budgets. Now, I'm going to do a guess. Before we even look at the email, I'm going to do a guess. Probably about the same as last year. Probably roughly about 2 million. I don't see it being any different to that. I think it'll be exactly the same as last year. But the commercial stuff is up again, apart from broadcast revenues, which is a little bit strange. I'm surprised at that one. Ignacio selling a lot of shirts to number 9. Nassi as well. The brilliant young Dutch talent, and Seferosa as well. So I'm quite happy with the commercial summary. And we do have a new sponsorship. It's nothing to write home about, though. The budget is, we've been given more money. 3 million. I'm not going to complain at that. 3 million. Again, we're just going to keep doing exactly what we've been doing, guys. This is going to be a very, very similar off-season. Sign young players, bring in great young talent. If they don't work out, we'll sell them on for profit. If not, this is why I put in the add-ons, basically to say, if you turn out to be good, you play your 50 games, you score your 50 goals or whatever the add-on is, then you were worth the money that we're going to pay. But if you don't, we're just going to sell you on, and that add-on means absolutely nothing. So yeah, we're going to stick with the same routine and method. But as I was saying, we're probably going to change a few things tactically. Now, I'm not sure exactly how we're going to change it and how we're going to go about it, but I'm going to develop 3 tactics. This tactic will probably stay in the team because I quite enjoyed it. It worked fairly well. It did what we needed it to do for the majority of the season, but I'm going to tweak some stuff, especially some stuff when we play against the bigger teams, maybe something that's a bit more of a low block, a bit more of a counter-attacking style of football. I'm going to toy around with some different roles that suit our players. What we also have to think about is, next year, obviously, it's not too bad, but Georgie won't be here, but he didn't play that big of a part this season, if we're being completely honest. He's going to be out of contract, but I'm not really sure I want to pick him up. I've looked at him a few times, and I do like him, but in terms of the second season, he's not really done much for us, so I don't feel the need to go and pick him up. And Busquets. Now, the chances are he's not going to be available. He's not available for contract now, and the chances are they're not going to let me loan him for a 3rd season in a row. Now, would I loan him for a 3rd season in a row? Of course I would. He's an absolutely fantastic player. I mean, his average rating this year probably wasn't as good as last year, but still, when we played him as a regista, he had really good performances. When we played him as a deep line playmaker in central midfield, I don't know what it was. He just didn't seem to perform as well. And the problem is, with playing Seferosa as a cam means we don't play DM. But maybe we need this high level of player for when we play against the bigger teams, because we could play the regista role there in a DM. I'm not really sure yet. We need to kind of figure out mentally how we're going to play. So guys, that is it. The end of Season 2. The next time you will see me, we will be starting Season 3, which I'm very much looking forward to. We'll have made some changes. Hopefully we hold on to all the big players that have been really pivotal to us this season. But do not worry, guys. We won't be letting them go unless there's a big pay packet in it for us. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into it. We've done very well this season. I'm happy with 4th place. It is a real shame that we didn't get European football again, but at the end of the day, it just means we can carry on consistently just trying to perform in the league, and let's try and hit 4th again. How often can a team that is outside of the top 3 win the cup? Because it's been 2 seasons in a row now. So hopefully that's not the case again. Anyway, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure doing Season 2 for you. I can't wait to get into Season 3. I'm enjoying building this team and moving forward. Leave feedback and comments as per usual. If you're new around here, subscribe. As recording this video, we hit 200 subs. It may not mean a lot in the grand scheme of YouTube, but it means a lot to me, guys. It means so much, because I've been doing people who have been around for a while, you can look at the videos. They're awful, but you can look at them. I've been doing YouTube since like 2013, on and off. I've never really committed the correct amount of time to it as I am now, but it means a lot to me when people show that support. It's been a whirlwind of a time. I know the world's a crazy place at the moment, but for me, it's been a difficult transition, because being a chef, sometimes it's a very hard job. And when you have a passion outside of that and trying to follow that while being a chef is very difficult. This time period has allowed me to create pretty much as freely as I want, whether it be streaming or YouTube, and I'm really enjoying it, and I'm hoping I'm going to be around consistently for a very long time. So you guys showing that support has been amazing. Anyway, guys, enough of the soppiness. Let's get ready for Season 3, and I'll see you there.